Welcome. It's Friday, February 28th, 2025. And it's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist. And it was a bad, bloody week for us. Woo! You know, it's like we got beat red. Holy smokies. But this is what happens. Every once in a while, we'll get the top stocks we own all go down. And that's the way it happens a lot of times. Let's get into it, because it's kind of a hot week and a lot of it's in tech. Our next gen portfolio down 3.8% compared to the S&P 500. Alexa, stop. And all right, so we're going to get in there. Minus 3.1%. We went up 1.94% today, but the blue line is our portfolio. Again, selling Fridays, was selling Thursdays, bought Monday, but it's been tough. It was a tariff-related collapse the other day, and we'll talk about that. But when we look at it compared to the other ones, we're behind now. First time, God, in years, we're actually behind everybody. But we were above everybody last week. You see how it goes? Up, down, up, down. This is volatile. This is a choppy market, man. Dow's up the best. Healthcare is doing well, and the S&P 500 barely hanging on, about 1%. And of course, the Nasdaq, like us, because we are a little heavy on the Nasdaq side, even though we're a diversified portfolio, we have a lot of the, I want to say 5 of that's Mag 7, and of course they went all down. So, like I said, it's up there. When we look at the SPY, everybody's watching it. It's not at the 200-day moving average, which is right here. So we're not. It's past the 50 and 20. It broke a trend line, so the tendency is probably get down here. Then we'll see if it holds. A lot of people are watching. A lot of people, go to cash, go to cash. Go ahead. I don't want to sell and then pay taxes and then buy at a higher price. Because remember, we can't time the market. The indicators, 2 years down to 4%. That's nice. It was at 4.5%. So the rates are going down. Yet home buying is the lowest it's in 20 years now. February is a bad month to buy homes, and a lot of people did not buy it. Crude oil below 70 is always good. More crude oil, better it is. Natural gas. Excuse me. Let me get a drink here. Natural gas below 4. Wow. That's a lot. Supplies going, it got warm this last week. It was actually, -3 the week before, and it was up in the 50s, and some people were up in the 70s. Like, wow. And gold just dropped below 2,900, and then silver, of course, follows at 31, and copper's at 450, still strong. I look at some commodities like oranges, like, wow, almost half the price. We didn't double the production of oranges. It was cold, but I was surprised. Again, one thing happens when you have a lot of supply, it goes down. When you have a shortage in demand, it goes up. And then, like I said, when the demand is very, very high and the prices are very, very high, people are just doing everything they can do to harvest this, get this in there. And then NVDA, we're going to do a couple slides on NVDA because, the King came out with earnings. I think this is the big number. We were 93% year to year. We went down to 79%. They're watching it. The Momo is done, as they say for NVIDIA. I wouldn't say that. 93% up a year ago, 77 year to date for a $3 trillion or $2.9 trillion company. Come on, that's crazy. It's going great. It's just that the momentum players are like, I don't want to be in it. I'm short, and you can see this is choppy. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Whew. Is it below 200-day moving average? Yes, it is below, but it was over here below the average too. This is the trend line that's up there that's going to be holding, hopefully. But we've been there before. It's down 10% already for the year. It could be worse. And one of the things that we have to watch is that what is NVIDIA going to do in the future? And let's talk about that because the Blackwell is shipping. It is shipping at a tremendous rate. Inference demand. That means, the ability to analyze data. Well, you know what? I've tested all the AIs except for Grok. They got good inference. All of them. So we're there. We're not at the next step. The next step is, can we do counterintuitive reasoning? Can we do analysis of imagery, voice, everything else? Can we do a lot of things from AI intelligence and communication and empathy and things like that? So that's going to go up there. Everybody wants to know what it'll do because we're at the Grace Hopper still. You know, we've been at the Grace Hopper for almost a year and a half, and everybody wants to see what the next level is. So 100 times more compute power with our Blackwell, and it's selling well. It's sold out. Remember, they were sold out for this year. And then I'm waiting for the Blackwell laptop GPU by NVIDIA. That's what the computer's going to look like. I just, you know, they're talking 3,000, so I'm really wincing. Do I want to buy a $3,000 laptop? I don't know, because I'm a desktop person with a big keyboard. But you can put a keyboard to it. Woo! We'll look at it. We'll look at it. You know, I want to go watch it for a while. But March was May, now it's March, so could be interesting. One of the things that's happening is the Spectrum X, which is an Ethernet networking card by NVIDIA. Well, it's doing well, and they're going to go out and scale it with the Stargate, which is that $500 billion project, of which $100 billion is already out there right now. So NVIDIA used to have these clusters of GPUs and 8 connected to the NVIDIA link, and then the smaller ones go through Infinity Band. Now it goes through 72 at a time, through a big link, through the NV switch, through Spectrum X, remember NVIDIA product, and it's deriving tremendous growth for NVIDIA. So not only are they going to get the chips, they've got the Ethernet, and it's going to be well. So I think people are forgetting about this. As Blackwell goes up, we're going to see a pickup of more revenue because of the Ethernet from the Spectrum X. And then, of course, JP Diamond did an interview. The stock is, banks are financial. Well, look at this nice steady climb. You'd think we weren't in a recession. But that's the way it works. What I think is he was interesting was, overregulation. He hates the stress test, and he thinks we have to put too much back. But doesn't see deflation, which is good. But consumers are trading down. This is what Walmart echoed. They're not going out at the big expensive stores. They're buying it at Walmart if they can do it. Costco, same way. And then 80% will not be affected by the tariffs. We'll talk a little bit more of it. But those that are, like car makers, we'll show you where it's going to be affected. It could be hit pretty hard. And, of course, tariffs could affect confidence, because if people see higher prices and flat income, maybe that's not so good. And they should be building out more natural gas pipelines, Well, that's easier said than done. Amazon came out and said Alexa is going to be $19.95 a month and free for Prime members. I think it's a great idea. We'll see how good it is. See how what level it is. And I was watching Andy Jassy talk about it, like, hey, John, you got 4 meetings today, and it's 33 degrees, so make sure you bundle up, wear that special sweater that you just bought on Amazon, and by the way, you've got this anniversary or this birthday to remember, and by the way, we got a sale on pickle shots today. That could be it. Like I said, a lot of these Bag 7s are starting to roll over, and you're seeing it. Does it go by the 200-day moving average or not?
This is a reminder. Did I watch the Trump Ukraine?
Oh, yeah. I watched that. I was listening. I listened to it.
Did I watch the Trump
They had it
Ukraine?
on CNBC. It's theater. This is the way he works, and it's theater. Putin invaded Ukraine. That's the most important point. Second point is, they are tough. I've been to Ukraine several times. They fought the Germans to a standstill in Kyiv, and only when they ran out of weapons and bullets did they do surrender. Half the town looked like it got wiped out by a big massive mound, and the rest of it was all rubble. So, there's no way Russia's going to win. Russia's out of big troops, out of the North Koreans for now. They got a lot of drones. That's what's going to happen. They're going to start hitting the drones into the big cities of Kyiv, Lviv, and Odessa, and now there's going to be damage. But they're not going to surrender to the Russians. It's going to be how much they fight. The rare earth metals are the prize for the U.S. if they get the deal. And that's what I said. The next step is going to call Putin and say, by the way, I had a horrible meeting with Zelensky, and what do you think about maybe making a compromise? And the Russians probably won't budge. Zelensky said Putin's broke all the agreements, which is true. So enough of the politics. The rare earth metals are important because China has a a lot of them, and they've been jacking up the prices. And if we want to be competitive in technology and semiconductors, we need access. And it's not like you snap your finger and you got access tomorrow. It's going to take a few years, and we got that few years, but do you trust Russia or do you trust Ukraine? There you are. That's why the agreement's important. Lily, look at this, man. We 920, man. We bought this in the 700s. Why? Because healthcare is the #1 sector right now. Going to be 3,000 new jobs. You know, they talk about they got all these stuff. There's a shortage of stuff. There's a backlog. People are still trying to buy all these GLP-1 drugs and stuff. Of course, corporate tax rates need to be low. They passed a tax cut. Was it Wednesday with Johnson? 217 to 215. So, you know, everybody benefits with that tax cut, and so corporations, everybody's going to. I don't know if you need to make it 15%, but that's here and there. It's passed. And again, it takes too long for a minute. This is the theme over and over, from anything from a new plant and everything else. They want to cut the wait time because they want to build these places. They don't need to have all this, you know, studies and everything else. So we'll see. You know, of course, sometimes we get too easy, then the environmental pays for it, and we'll see. Meta's going to do a standalone AI. You know, I rank the Meta AI probably 4th. You know, if we had to go really close between ChatGPT #1 and then #2 is Gemini Advanced, and then Perplexity's getting pretty good. You know, and I would give it a slightly better because, you know, I don't want to say Meta's sterile, but it's very. It feels like you're talking to a robot that just doesn't care about you and gives you one-line answers for a lot of stuff. It's correct, but it doesn't really want to go into detail. So, of course, everybody needs money for these data centers and you know, these applications, and it's going to take a while. Meta went up 20 days in a row. You can see that nice little jump, and then of course it's been kind of going down. It's at the 50-day moving average. Quite a bit of ways to go to the other area, but Meta's like one of the only Mag 7 stocks to be positive this year. Microsoft, they're going to start cutting the leases, which is interesting because you don't cut the leases if you're doing great. And is it reduced demand, increased efficiency? Could be both, you know. Oracle's getting some of the business from OpenAI, so that could be some of the issues too. So, you know, it broke through a lot of averages here. This is kind of an ugly chart, but Microsoft is double-digit growth, and then we're going to keep it. It makes money. It makes billions of dollars. And, you know, cloud, you know, services through their assistant for PowerPoint and everything else, you know, it's not bad. You know, the AI, it could be better. I mean, how come I can't go make all the PowerPoint slides Calibri font 20? It doesn't do it. It can't do this. You got all this millions and billions of dollars spent, and you can't just do something so simple. Yeah, you can rearrange it, you can cut slides, but I mean, I would just like little things like that to actually work. Oh, they said, no, go to the master slide, you change it. No, it doesn't work. I watch it all the time. When I type it, next thing you know, I'm in Appros or Times New Roman or something, and it's just like, wow. So, could be better. Could be better. TKO, which is UFC, World Wrestling Entertainment. Remember? Entertainment. Which is almost what I thought about today on the meeting. I says, this is like the wrestling talk shows, you know. You, Hulk Hogan, you're a bad guy. I'm going to beat you up, and you don't have the cards, Triple H. I mean, it just reads like a wrestling script today. All right. TKO, you know, again, look at this. Revenues went up 4%. Remember, they paid a lot of money out, but I think it's doing well, you know. Of course, it's kind of gone down a little bit. You know, people see it as flat. I says the ESPN contract for UFC is coming up, and they know it's going to be better. I mean, you know, you just sit there and watch, you know, the revenues. They do go very good. Everything's no more lawsuits, so it's all good. And there's really not a lot of competition, so I think it's good stuff. You know, I don't want to say there's a correlation. There is some correlation between Bitcoin and Tesla, but, you know, the pattern is there. You know, I just look at this thing, and both are down. Alexa, what is Tesla down for the year?
When the market closed on Monday, Tesla traded at $182.92 on the NASDAQ, up 0.03281%
I don't think
since
that's right.
previous close.
See? Amazon, Alexa, got to do a little bit better. DELL, you know, I watch DELL because they generate a lot of money. And 7.2, it's not bad. I like double digits for my text, so kind of running sideways, just like a lot of companies. I mean, that's the big knock on NVIDIA. You take this chart and you just put NVIDIA's name on it. It's kind of like the same thing, except it's falling a little bit, further. But that's it. That's the way it works. It goes sideways for a period of time, maybe 8 months, and then it just jumps up and then it sideways. And people kind of want that steady grower, like you saw with the banks. SoundHound, they got out of it in NVIDIA, and you can see when they almost got out of it. This thing just dropped like a rock, right here. And Jensen Huang sold it. But what I'm just surprised, revenues are really jumping. I know they're not making money, they're losing money, but that's a pretty good revenue jump. Now, of course, it's only 34 million, but a lot of stuff can come up there. If you can identify through AI my music preferences, you can give me all these new musics, all these new things to take a look at, and you can decide what song's going to be there. I says, well, it's kind of already there in YouTube and Spotify, so how are they going to make it with SoundHound? I don't know. I'm at that point where you can say, okay, I'm watching it, because that kind of revenue jump is pretty good. And will it do it next quarter after that? The tariffs, like I said, when we got the announcement yesterday, it just tanked the market. I mean, oh wow, we're going to get Mexico and Canada 25%. China is now going to be paying 20%, 10% plus the new 10%, and then EU 25% coming up. It's like tariffs for everybody. And I'm thinking, wow, how's Japan and others voiding
it? This is a reminder. Bitcoin and what's the price going to be, period.
Well, I know.
This is a reminder. Bitcoin and what's the price going to be, period.
Let's ask Alexa, what's the price of Alexa? See, doesn't want to answer. I know Bitcoin dropped below 80,000 a little bit, just for a brief second. But people like Michael Saylor, sell a kidney, but keep your Bitcoin. he is all Bitcoin. Of course, he's in 100,000 for a lot of it, and we were in it at 60. So, a little easy to say, oh, I'm not too worried about it because I bought it at 60 and it's 80, versus people who bought it at 109 and it's 80. That's not good. But what's going to happen is, cars, obviously, a lot of stuff is made in Mexico. That's going to price the cost of cars. That's inflationary. Phones like Apple, are you going to pay $200 extra for an iPhone if it's top line iPhone because of the tariffs? Same thing for almost all the computers. They're almost always made overseas. And then parts are coming in, so repairs are going to be more money. So this is where the people are going to pay. I kind of propose, why don't you, of all the new tariffs, why don't you give us like a quarter of it back? Just send us a quarterly dividend of our tariff. You can get the 75%, you can do whatever you need to do with it. But I don't think that'll ever happen. I mean, you just have to ask, though. HP, another big company with revenues, 13 billion of revenues every quarter is pretty good. Flat revenues. And they make good laptops. I like the laptop by HP, and I bought another one, but I got rid of the Intel chip. I went to AMD, and I love it. I love it. It's a great laptop. My old HP finally died at 6 years, so that's. I think they're doing good. I mean, and of course, this is a choppy, ugly chart. Our 200-day moving average is right up here. It's below there. Oh, you don't want that to happen. You want a nice steady one. You want to get it up there, but this is the tech right now. Stripe is what I use with several billing. I says, if you want to pay me, I got a way to you get the money to me, whether it be Venmo or PayPal or Stripe or Bill. I had Square, but I'll tell you what, that place, they were rude, kicked me out because I didn't charge enough. And I was like, I do more revenue than some people do in a quarter, and you're sitting there kicking me out because I only do a few of them? That's nonsense. I mean, so I would never buy Block. I was like, that's a badly managed company when you kick out a little business. But this is huge. I mean, I listened to the CEO of Stripe, and Stripe is doing well. I think the gorilla, and I'm just going to say what I use the most, is Google Pay, not PayPal. I use PayPal once or twice a quarter, maybe. Maybe I use it to send money to people, but otherwise, Google Pay is what I use. It's hooked up to every single thing. Goes to one of my bank accounts, and I love it because then Google makes sure that it's okay, that I've had the code, it recognizes it, nobody else is going to get the code, so I just think, like I said, it's tough to beat Google, but I'm looking at this revenue jumps, and 39% is pretty good for any fintech, you know. So, and I think they make it easy. I can get the bill and invoice out in 15 minutes. So, with my customers that want to pay with credit cards and stuff like that, it's pretty easy. I mean, I just think it's easy. They love it because it's just minor expenses and they put it on there. Salesforce, I always talk about Kramer. He's all about Salesforce and stuff. And this is not what you want to see. First, let's look at the revenue jumps. 7.6. Remember, we want to get 10%. If Microsoft starts getting down 3% or like Apple -% revenue growth, we're not going to be in it anymore. We'll take our money, take our profits, pay our huge taxes on it, and get out of it. But that's what we want. We want 10% because there's a lot of good companies. I mean, we're overweighted tech because there's a lot of good companies in it. So this is okay. It's not going to meet a criteria for us to buy it. And the stock is coming close to 200-day moving average. Everybody's panicking. Will it break through? I don't know. I mean, it's 7.6 growth is okay. Not as good as double digits. So our companies are double digits. So, and then Lowe's and Home Depot. I watch it. Okay, revenues fell. People are conservative. They're not building the houses. Going down. So, I mean, I use Lowe's all the time. I think it's nice. Give you a veteran discount and everything else. So, I think the heater for that because you didn't ask. You got to ask. But it's a solid company. But let's look at Home Depot. 14. 3. So who's doing better? Home Depot by far. Double digits. That's good. Yet you'd think they're the same stocks. So, it's out there. I think if you're going to buy a big retailer, we got Amazon and we got Walmart. You could add Costco. That's just as good. Home Depot's not bad either. Bitcoin. I mean, this has just been ugly. Here it is. So Bitcoin is at 84 when I did the chart. So February 28th. Look at the low. It got down to $78,000. So it's an ugly chart. You can't chart Bitcoin. Heaven forbid, because we charted and took our money and ran twice. But this is tough. This is a tough chart if you're bought in anything right over here. You're watching and you're like down 30,000 if you had 100,000 of it. I mean, that's tough. It's easy to sit there and say, yeah, I bought it low and I'm just riding it and it's down. But it's tough. I mean, this is a tough position to be in, if you're an investor. And of course, all the other crypto follow Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does, generally everybody else follows over the period of time. The material stocks, we got FCX and Philip Morris, and we covered them last week, so I'm not really going to cover them again. But we look at the material MXI, that's our ETF, and it's good for a while, and then that's coming down again. So we look at the earnings, and other than Alcoa, which I didn't really look at why, but everybody else is kind of flat and kind of quiet. Philip Morris barely up there. Gold, it was up, and then it was positive, and of course FCX is just going down this last week. Clorox was up the best quarter one, and now it's one of the worst ones in there. And again, I'd look at it as, let's take a look at it. It's up there, nice sloping area. It's kind of hovering around this 200-day moving average. Dividends solid. PE's not as low as I'd like to have it. But, material stocks are just, we want to be in them. They pay good dividends. They go up irrationally, as I always call it. But I like Clorox because they're not a lot of competitors to it, and it's not like you can just start a chlorine plant, because that's multi-millions of dollars to do that. So I think Clorox is a stock we like, and it's pretty good, pretty consistent, and not so bad. And then year to date. I did a year to date. I didn't do this week heat map. Bad me, but that's okay. We look at the food stocks. Well, Walmart and Lilly, Meta, and the Mag 7. Tesla, 27% down this year. Whew. It's like everything they had after the election. He's just been beat up, and Amazon and Apple and Microsoft all kind of low. Google's oddly enough down. Google doing well, but like I said, we look at this as just kind of like tech gyrations. If these were all double digits, I would be worried somewhat. I guess I wouldn't even be worried because I just look at the earnings. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. You know, it's growing. And then, of course, Broadcom, you know, we just got to start a positioning in it. You know, so it's just like, all right, we haven't bought any because it keeps on going down, and we want to see it do a little bit better. Revenues are good on Broadcom. And you know, we want to look at the other stuff, but you know, look at a lot of the greens. You know, it's not this tech area right here. So you know, if you're diversified, you control the losses, except that when the big ones drop down quite a bit. So we done well this week. No, we didn't. We did horrible this week. You know, but I always look at it. You know, it's early. You know, we want to be even. We'd like to be the S&P 500, but you can see up. Beating it for 8 weeks, and then 1 week, pow. And we're not going to look at it. It's not that the earnings dropped us. That's the key word. The earnings are good. The momentum players wanted more, didn't get it. So, you know, that's part of the whole problem, and you know, we'll be all right. You know, good stocks will come back. I'll see you next week. Nice week. We had a lot of wind for some reason, so I could hear it howling. But take care and have a good week. Bye.